Okay, so today I'm going to be looking at a piece by Luigi Nono, Italian composer. It's for orchestra, written in 1950. It's called Variazioni Canoniche, and the subtitle is about the series Opus 41 of Arnold Schoenberg. And if you aren't familiar with Schoenberg's music, his Opus 41 is his Ode to Napoleon Bonaparte, which is sort of an anti-war protest piece for narrator, piano and string quartet, I believe. And it was composed during the Second World War. And this piece by Nono is composed like just after the Second World War. Both Schoenberg and Nono are serial composers and 12-tone composers. This compositional technique is deeply associated with anti-fascist sentiment. Schoenberg famously had to flee Germany. I am not too sure about Nono's past, but we might get into it just looking at his biography later. But I think it's safe to say that this piece will be sort of it'll be related to that sentiment somehow. The Ode to Napoleon also has this hexachord, which might feature in this piece. I'm sort of just predicting what this piece is going to be about based on the title. I haven't actually heard it before or looked at the score before, so you're experiencing it with me. But this is the hexachord. In prime form, it's C, D flat, E, F, G sharp, A, which would be 0, 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, I guess. Interval vector is 303630. The hex chord has been used in music by Bruno Maderna. It's also been used in Webern Opus 24, Schoenberg Suite Opus 29, and Milton Babbitt's Composition for 12 Instruments, 1948, and Milton Babbitt's Composition for 4 Instruments, also 1948. The hex chord crops up in the work of Scriabin and Bartók as well. You can think of it almost also as like a mode of limited transposition. It's sort of like a hexatonic scale, you could say. You got a minor second followed by minor third, followed by a minor second, followed by a minor third kind of thing. Minor third or augmented second. Okay, let's get into the piece now. So the instrumentation is 2, 2, 3, saxophone 1, then 2, 1, 1, 0, harp, piano, timpani, and percussion. Not sure how many players, but there are 6 percussion instruments. And then the strings, actually, you only need 22442 for the strings. So it's actually almost like a chamber orchestra. Second flute doubles on pick, second oboe doubles on English horn. One of the clarinets is on E flat, another on bass, and the saxophone is a soprano sax. And the percussion list is suspended cymbal, 2 tam-tams, a side drum, a snare drum, and a bass drum. So no pitch percussion aside from the timpani. So Nono was born to a wealthy aristocratic family in Italy in 1924, and he lived until 1990. He taught at, well, let's see. He studied with Bruno Maderna, I think. And this variation piece from 1950 is actually his first, considered his first work, his first mature work. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, he was a member of, as I predicted, he's a leftist. He's a member of the Italian resistance during the Second World War, which fought the occupying forces of Nazi Germany. And he was allied politically to other people at Darmstadt, such as Henry Pousseur, Hans Werner Henze. This article gets into a lot of depth. It seems like he went through a few stylistic phases in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He has also written a lot on art and music, and obviously taught a lot of composers. He taught a lot of composers the 12-tone style. I think we even in going over Schnittke's music, we encountered Nono as a teacher of Alfred Schnittke. So he was even trying to teach 12-tone music in the Soviet Union, which is kind of interesting. He's really, really a big proponent of this style of music in the post-war period. So here's his list of works. Fairly productive. 2 to 3 pieces a year, sometimes 4. Fittingly, we are introducing ourselves to his work with his first mature work. So, with that being said, let's have a listen. Okay, yeah, I don't have much to say about this one. It's very slow most of the time, and it does sound like very mature work, but also pretty early work. There's nothing in this that Schoenberg wouldn't have been able to write or wouldn't have written. There is something pointillistic about it, and I like that throughout the piece you get these sort of subsections of the orchestra, and it's very quiet and brooding. The harp and piano parts are super interesting, as is the soprano sax solo, which is near the end. But it didn't leave a huge impression on me. It just kind of made me think about this time in serial music, where we were transitioning into the post-war sort of era, and Europeans were trying to figure out what the future of music was supposed to be, and this was one answer to that question, I think. But overall, it was very slow. Even when it got into faster sections, the note values lengthened, so it still felt slow, and it just had this sort of simple rhythmic quality. The only thing punctuating, there's some really long sustained stuff and other notes that were somewhere between rhythmic and sustained because they were so slow, and the only thing punctuating it was these trills that you would occasionally get in the piano or a flute or a clarinet. It was very interesting in that respect. But as a composer, I feel like I need to say that slow music is always easier to compose, and it's a little bit of a hack. So writing 20 minutes of music like this is definitely still impressive because it is about 300 measures, but I think later works of Nono's are a lot more impressive. We're going to be going to Prokofiev, who wrote his Fifth Symphony less than 10 years before this piece. So maybe that'll put some of this in a historical perspective.